지금 발표 바로 시작해도 되겠습니다.
May I begin right away then? Good morning to you. I am Kim Ji-young, working as a professor at Pugyong National University. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the development and policies of the Korean seafood distribution and processing industry. And I sincerely hope that today's presentation would contribute to the improvement or development of the value chain of the fisheries industry in Bangladesh. Let me begin right away. This is what I am going to talk about today. First, I'm going to spend some time on the development of Korea's seafood distribution and processing industry. And then I'm going to introduce some of the Korean seafood products that we consume here. And then end my presentation with implications. First, let me talk about the development of Korea's seafood distribution and processing industry to you. As you can see from these pictures, these are taken before the times of the 1950s. This is the fish market. So as you can guess from the pictures, we didn't have a distribution facilities and everything. The catch was consumed in the site of the production, and also the freshness, keeping the fish and the catch fresh was a big challenge. But now into the 1960s, the Korean government has focused its efforts in order to increase and enhance the fleet capacity, and they started to build up the small fishing vessels and also distant water fishing vessels. And as such, the fishing fleet and the fishing gear has improved greatly. Now, moving on to the next slide. With those efforts, the distant water fishing activities and industry has improved a lot so that we were able to catch all those fish that you see on this slide, like tuna, yellowfin tuna, and the big eye tuna, and so on. Now moving on to the next slide. This is the fishing grounds where our distant water fishing vessels under the Korean flag are active. They are catching fish in the Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, and Pacific Ocean throughout the world. Now, I'd like to talk to you about the production volume caught by the Korean flag distant water fishing vessels. As you can see, a great amount of fish was supplied by distant water fishing vessels and operators. And also, it started to supply the fish not only to Korea, but also from the 1960s and 70s. It has become a major export item, contributing to the development of the national economy of Korea. Not only that, from 1960s to 1980s, the expansion of fishing fleet was observed. You can see that it was only 34,000 something in 1960, but it increased to more than 86,000 vessels in 1982. You can see that the number of fishing fleet has increased a lot. So with such increase in the production, I'm sorry. We keep seeing the box on your presentation. Would it be possible to get rid of the box on? Oh, yes, it got smaller. Thank you. Oh, it got bigger. Oh, now it looks better. Thank you. Oh. I'm sorry, I will do my best. Anyway, now with the rapid increase in the production, now the new problem, there came a new problem, how we are going to handle this rapidly increasing fishery products. The catch provided by the distant water fishing vessels was exported, but what about those that come into Korea? We need to think about how we can keep such fish and catch fresh and distribute that to consumers. So now I'm going to talk to you about what kind of measures was taken by the Korean government. The Korean government first started to focus on building many distribution facilities in order to keep seafood fresh and supply them in fresh state. And in Korea, we have many fishery markets in ports along the coastlines of Korea. So the fish is landed in these markets, and then they go through the auction and then be supplied to consumers nationwide. So such fishery markets is a venue where the fishermen and the buyers are connected, and also with such and also when they come together, the lead time can be reduced. And if you look at this slide, you can see that there are more than 200 fishery markets along the coastlines of Korea. And on the right-hand side, you see the picture. This is a picture of the fishery market. So in these fishery markets, the fishermen come to supply and sell their catch and fish to the buyers so that the fish can be supplied to consumers nationwide in a speedy manner. Now moving on to the next slide, I'd like to talk to you about the government's efforts to build up the wholesale market in Korea. You know, as you may have already heard, people are densely populated in Seoul, Gyeonggi, which is the greater Seoul area and so on. So with such a unique feature, it is important to build up a wholesale market which can function as a logistics hub or the supply hub. The representative example of a wholesale market is this one, Noryangjin Fisheries Wholesale Market. That's the name. Now the government has turned it around into a more modernized facility, as you can see from the pictures. Now moving on to the establishment of frozen warehouse complex. The Korean government has focused its efforts to build a strategic logistics base where the fish can be landed. And there is a specific place called the Port of Gamcheon. And at this port, there is a complex where the freezing and the cooling warehouse and facilities are concentrated. And there, a large quantity of seafood is kept in a frozen and cooling state. And such frozen seafood can be supplied to consumers throughout the year. Now moving on to the next slide. I'd like to talk to you about the mackerel, the fish. The mackerel is the representative of seafood that is supplied in a frozen state because the mackerel can be caught in a large quantity during specific period. So since mackerel is caught during only a specific period, in order to keep keep the mackerel fresh and supplied to consumers, it is very important to have this freezing facilities. If you look at the red colored box, you can see that the 76% of the caught mackerel is kept and stored in the frozen warehouse to be supplied to consumers or to be exported to consumers overseas and so on. So this kind of freezing warehouse facility makes it possible to supply mackerel throughout the year to consumers. And this is the practice done not only by Korea, but also other countries like Norway. You can see that in order to keep a mackerel at that is high in fat content and high quality, they catch the mackerel and keep them in freezing facilities, keep them in a frozen state so that mackerel can be exported to other countries, to other consumers in other countries throughout the year. Now I'd like to talk to you about the fishery production area and what kind of processing and storage facilities are there. You can see that the ice making facilities, ice storage facility, refrigeration facilities are all there in order to keep the freshness, especially in fishery production areas. With this kind of support, the fishery production areas are able to keep the seafood fresh for a long time so that they can sell and supply their product throughout the year again. Now I will talk to you about the processing industry. The government has also focused its efforts to foster and promote the advancement of a processing industry through the capacity expansion and production production facility expansion, should I say. Now, I will talk to you about the establishment of the international seafood wholesale market. As I said to you, in Busan area, the government has built up a strategic logistics hub. So at this hub, we can see a large-scale refrigerated and frozen warehouses with a 25,000 metric ton storage capacity. So this is truly a logistics hub where a large quantity of seafood can be handled, stored in a fresh state. Now, I will talk to you about the establishment of seafood export processing complex. This is again located at the port of Kamcheon. As you can see from the picture, there are about like 56 seafood processing companies that are resident at this complex. And everything like every service is provided at this processing complex for companies to export their product and trade their product. With such infrastructure, we have a robust value chain in place. Let me take an example of Alaska pollock in Korea. First, Alaska pollock is caught in overseas waters, and then they come to the frozen warehouses at the port of Kamcheon for storage for a long time. And then they are sent to the international wholesale market for auction. And after the auction, the companies participate in the auction and then secure the seafood and then keep them in the freezing warehouses and then be supplied to consumers throughout the year. This is a value chain. What is important here is that we do have this strong frozen warehouse facilities so that depending on the demand, it is no problem for us to supply the Alaska pollock or other seafood at any time throughout the year. This is the value chain of Alaska pollock in Korea. This is just for your reference. So I'd like to walk you through the keywords or the key takeaway in terms of the development of the Korean seafood distribution and processing industry. The first one is that the efforts were focused on the establishing fishery distribution facility so that the buyers and the sellers can come together in these fishery markets. And the next one is the establishing a wholesale market in the metropolitan area or in the greater Seoul area so that the seafood can be supplied to consumers in a timely manner. And the third one is supporting the construction of frozen warehouses so that we can distribute the seafood throughout the cold chain. And the next one is supporting fishery products to be processed and stored throughout the cold chain system. And also the focus was to build up a to support the processing industry and also to have the infrastructure in place. Now, I'd like to introduce some of the Korean seafood products. With the rapid increases in the production volume of seafood, on one hand, there were efforts made, as I mentioned to you on previous slides, but on the other hand, there were many processed seafood products, and that became the industry in Korea. So people now have many different choices of consuming the seafood. And this is the slide that shows the trend of the processed seafood products being supplied and consumed in Korea. With the increases in the fishery production volume, you can see that there was also increase in the processed fishery products. With such a processing industry growth, that is kind of a strength that was made possible thanks to the logistics system of Korea. So basically, the seafood that is likely to go rotten fast, those are the target of the processed seafood industry so that it can be stored and distributed in the long term. For example, there are like a frozen product, dried product, or salted product, and so on. those are the seafood that cannot be kept for a long time, so that they go through the processing. They go through processing, and by doing so, they can be supplied to consumers for a long time. And this all led to the automation and the rise of the processing industry as an export industry and creation of high value added. And one of the representative product would be the laver and also the tuna. So all these products with high value added products are now being developed and consumed. So as you can see from the picture, there are so many different processed seafood products in Korea. At the center, there is Alaska pollock, and in Korea, Korean consumers, they eat all the parts of Alaska pollock from the head to tail, even the skin. Even the skin is being consumed after going through the drying process. So the processing industry of seafood products has become very diverse. And also it is becoming a very critical component in the value chain of the processed fishery industry. Now I will introduce to you the representative frozen products. First, processed products, excuse me. One of the representative case or example of the processed seafood is the frozen product. So the fish is frozen in the as a whole, or or they are being cut and then be kept frozen. So you can see that the frozen product industry is a highly advanced industry, with many of such seafood is kept in this manner and processed in this manner and supplied to consumers. Now we have canned seafood products as well. The representative products would be the tuna canned seafood, or mackerel, or the whelk or sorry product that is canned and supplied to consumers. This is very widely consumed products that come onto the table of Korean families. Now I will talk to you about the fish meat paste. We call it as the fish cake, or we have the name of the imitation crab meat that tastes like crab. On the right, that is the picture on the right hand. I think that the fish balls that you consume in Bangladesh would be something similar to this fish cake. This is a very popular food. Now I will talk to you about the dried products. Mostly it is dried with the natural wind. For example, dried squid is the representative product of the dried product, dried pollock, and so on. This industry this market is quite a big market, and nowadays they even dry the seafood with a machine dried seafood. It has come onto the market as well. Now I will talk to you about the seaweed products. Seaweed is caught and dried and processed for final consumption. Especially in Korea, laver is a very popular product. And also it has become a key export product. Many of laver products are made and processed in Korea are meeting the consumers around the world. Now I will talk to you about the salted products. Seafood, the seafoods are salted. And this was the popular way of keeping seafood fresh when there was no freezing or refrigeration technology developed. So even in our retail stores, when the seafood products are likely to go bad, they salt the products and sell such products to consumers who want to buy the salted products, seafood products. Now I will talk to you about the salted seafood again, but this is different because it goes through fermentation. In every region of Korea, there is a representative fermented salted seafood. And that is in line with the local culture. Now I will talk to you about the seasoned products, the seafood products with additives. that go through the drying or grilling and so on. And this kind of product again can be stored and supplied for a long time without worrying about it going rotten. For example, the popular product would be the seasoned dried squid product. Additives are added to it and then dried, and then they are sold to consumers. Now I will talk to you about the recent trends of the processed seafood products. Before, the seafood products were processed because they wanted to keep seafood for a long time in a safe manner. However, nowadays the processed seafoods are in the form of ready-to-meat products. We call it home meal replacement seafood products. So it's very convenient. You just put the product in your microwave and then hit a couple of minutes, and then you can consume the fish at home. It's very easy. And also, some of the seafood is provided as a snack product. That is the recent trend we are seeing and observing in Korea. So key takeaway is that all these different types of processed products are forming a big market. So what I'd like to tell you is that even if fish is caught in a large quantity, it can be stored safely using the infrastructure and be supplied to consumers in many different ways. And Koreans, they are known to consume 69.8 kilograms of fish per year per capita. So this kind of establishment of value chain is very important to cater to the such fish consumption in Korea. And the key takeaway from my presentation is that efforts are focused on building up the infrastructure and facilities at production sites so that the buyers and consumers can meet seamlessly. That is the one of the priority area. And the second one is that we are focused on building up the refrigeration and freezing facilities, ice making and ice storage facilities so that the fish products or seafood products can be supplied throughout the year. And the third one, again, the ice making, ice storage facilities, again, important in order to keep seafood fresh. And the next one is that we have developed and introduced many different processing technologies in order to preserve and in order to keep seafood fresh for a long time so that it can be supplied throughout the year. The next one is the creation of a consumer market where all these different types of fish products can be consumed so that it can push up the per capita fish consumption even higher. That will be the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention.
Nice to meet you all. I'm the head of Halim Suhyop. My name is Sijun Kim. So we are having this meeting on Virtual Knowledge Days of World Bank on sustainable coastal marine fisheries. And I'm so honored to talk about all the processes that my organization has been through until today. So I want to first thank everyone here with us for your participation. So I will first introduce Halim Suhyap. So that next year marks our 60th anniversary. So next year will mark the 60th anniversary, and I have become the head of Suhyop when it marked the 48th year. And in the past, we had many difficulties. All the cooperatives and financial institutions had difficulties in the past. So to overcome those difficulties, we have laid the 10-year plan. And thanks to all the effort and through the help of the local government and the central government and all our staff, we have now become one of the leading cooperatives in Korea. So in the past, we didn't have sufficient infrastructure, so we didn't have ice causing fish to rotten. So for example, if we had like 100 boxes of ice, we had to split them among 30 fishing houses, and we didn't have the storage facility. All the basic infrastructure was not sufficient in the past, but it is all resolved. So we are now in the process of constructing the welfare facility for the fishing community. And as you can see here in this center, it will have all the functions needed for the fishing community, including the basic facilities and the welfare facilities for the fishing village. And this is named FPC. So regarding the details of FPC, I will talk about them later. And for this, we had the government's support, both the local government and central government. So it can handle the whole process from the production until the final consumption. And through this, we had the rapid growth of the cooperative. So the first thing we focus on is to regard the fishing village and fisherman as our own family member. So we invested a lot. We didn't want to save money. We thought that if we spend money, if we invest money, that will lead to the virtuous cycle of creating more profit. So the first thing we focused on was to train our staff. So today we have about 180 staff, and in 2010 that was like half of that. And next year the budget will be, just for the human resource cost, it will be more than 13 billion won. And we are not just focusing on the fishing functions, but also on the welfare of the community. We have the elderly facility as well, and some health-related facilities. So we at Suhyap are tapping all the potential of the community. So in the past, what FPC did was like 70% of our job was the processing. However, we didn't keep up with that anymore, but we understood that creating and storing ice cubes are very important. We currently create about 13,000 cubes of ice today per day, but that is not sufficient. And as we increased our ice making capacity, that led to more boats using the ice. And in the past, the number of foreign staff employed by Korean fishers was 150, but now that went up to 700. So we are having a lot of foreign workers employed in the fishing community. Actually, Korean people, they don't want to work in this difficult job. And this is very low paying job. So Korean people, especially the young people, don't want to work in this hard job. At Suhyap, if you work in this fishing industry, we can support up to 150,000 to 200,000 won per day, but we are not having sufficient Korean people working in this area. So what we do is to support the ice and also the processing, and we also do the packaging so that when the fish is secured at our facility, we can deliver the products to all corners of Korea and also to 4 different countries. And also, we provide our products to the military units in Korea, including pollock and mackerels. So that is why we continuously increase our processing volume and handling volume. So if we just stopped in the past of just doing the processing, we would not have achieved what we have today, but we continuously evolved and expanded our scope, and that led to more production, more handling, and vitalization of the community. We have more restaurants around our community, and that led to more people visiting the site, and also that led to the rise in the real estate price. And that is in turn leading to the vibration of the community, and more people are coming into our community, and that is leading to more job creation. So that is such a great virtuous cycle, and that was possible thanks to the Korean Ministry of Ocean and Fisheries and all the related agencies and the hard work of our staff. So what we are trying to do is, if we spend $10 billion, 10 billion won for our facility, we are not just extracting $10 billion as the worth of the investment, but we are extracting even more. So Halim Suhyop is playing vital role in the economic development of the region. At Halim Suhyop, we had difficult time in the past. Until last year, the members of the cooperative, we had 2,400.
Sorry, can I make a quick suggestion? I see the PowerPoints are not moving with this presentation, so
저기
it'd be great if we could move the presentation along with this presentation.
예, 이거 하고 예, 얼음 다 나오고 예.
저기
예.
위생이 판정.
위생의 판정. 예. 그래서 더 좋은 것은
So what
저희가
is so great is that we have many buyers from Korea and abroad coming to our organization. We sign many MOUs with them, and they can buy products from us very reliably. And that is because we have this freezing facility, the low temperature facility at the consignment market. We do the sorting by using the machines. So it's very reliable. As the Professor Kim said, he said that there are like 200 consignment markets. Actually, there are 220. And as of 2018, out of all those 120 consignment markets, we ranked #1 in terms of the sanitary level of the market. So we are very confident that we have such a clean and hygienic market and workshop. And by having this facility, the sorting facility, we can do very accurate sorting and categorization of our products. So there are like a very clear standards for different categories of fish, and that gives more trust to buyers and consumers. So that is leading to more sales at our Halim Suhyap. And we have very big storing facility. So we store a lot of inventory there so that we can sell the fish throughout the year regardless of the season. So we find out what our community can do and tailor our services accordingly. And we understand the potential of the fishing community. And of course, it was possible thanks to the full support of the government. The government did not end with just the words, but actually showed the active support and gave us a lot of investment. Actually, my term is almost over, about 1 year and 2 months are left. And during my remaining terms, I will do my best to complete this FPC center so that we can provide all the needed support to the fishing community. We understand that the elderly of the community had gone through a lot of hardship in the past. So we created the sauna facility there so that the elderly can go there and enjoy the sauna. And there is also a party room where
Sorry,
they can watch movie and etc.
Sorry about that. Could you move the presentation? Because again, it's not matching with what he's presenting.
Yeah.
Sorry. He's talking, but we're not seeing the actual picture of what he's doing. So I think he has to go further down. Yeah, now that makes sense. Yes. Thanks.
Yeah.
And maybe he could talk a little bit about the financing, how the financing is happening.
예, 거의 저희가 뭐 한 800억 이상 저희가 한 10년 동안에
So more than 80 billion won was invested over 10 years. And about 30 to 40% was done by the central government, about another 30% from the local government, and the remaining 30 to 40% was burdened by Suhyap itself. And as for the welfare facility, 80% of the budget was supported by the government. The central government 40%, the local government 40%, and the remaining 20% was paid by Halim Suhyap itself. So this center, FPC, will be constructed by the end of this year. And after the COVID situation is somehow settled, then maybe by November we can have the opening ceremony. So if you go inside this center, currently we are not handling the live fish, but with the opening of this center, we will have the live fish handling center, live fish selling center, and also there will be a supermarket and restaurant on the second floor. And also we will have office space and medical centers, both for the Western medicine and Oriental medicine. So this is very small village, so we don't have proper medical facilities in the community. So in this center, we will have the medical center for elderlies. And on the third floor, we will have the banquet hall to accommodate about 250 people. So it's like a very sophisticated level of banquet hall. So you can watch movie there. You can have party there. And also on the third floor, as I said, there is a sauna and also the gym. So both the community people and our staff would be able to enjoy those gym facilities to work out and also to rest. So
죄송하지만 잠깐만요. 죄송하지만 우리 발표에서 이 센터에서 집중하지
I'm very
마시고
sorry, but please
이거는
don't
translate 안 해도
focus
될
on
것
this.
같아요. 이거 트랜스레이트 안 해도 될 것 같아요. 제 말은 이 박사님 보고 이 센터에 설명을 하셨으니까 우리가 이 나라에 이제 피싱, 먹이, 고기 잡는 사람들 진짜 초라하게 사니까 이게 되게 중요한데 이 센터가 어떻게 운영하는 거하고 고기 잡는 분들한테 장학금이나 이런 거를 어떻게 하시고 뭐 이런 거를 좀 설명을 좀 해줬으면 좋겠고 특히 쓰레기 생선 쓰레기, 이런 쓰레기 처리를 어떻게 하시는지 이런 운영 쪽으로 좀 많이 설명하시면 좋겠습니다. 감사합니다.
기본적으로 저희가 조합장 됐을 때
So since I took the office, we had 250 million won for the annual budget, and I try to use that to revitalize the community and to provide scholarship to our members and etc. So that was very small amount in the past. So what we are having today is 1.8 billion won. So if you are a member of our cooperative and your student goes to university, no matter how expensive the tuition might be, we support the full tuition for the children of our members. Also, we have 18 fishing community organizations, and we support them with about $500 per month for their expense. And we also support about $5,000 in addition for activities of them. And in case of the shell, the seashells, the price had dropped by about $5 compared to the past. So that is like demotivating the fishers from catching them. So what we are doing is to make up for those differences with our expense. And If you calculate all the social organizations in our area, there are like total 90 social organizations, and we provide a lot of support them, including financial support. And as for our contribution, the return back to the community, we have increased our return to the society to about 13 billion won. So that in turn is facilitating the fishing community to buy more vessels, to invest in their own fishing activities and etc. And that is also leading to more revenue for our cooperative. So we are having the mutual fund, and we also coordinate between the buyers and the sellers and advise the fishers on what kind of species should be the main catch. So we have about 50 species, 50 core species that we focus on, and we have many buyers, including the Noryangjin wholesale market buyers and all the major Korean fish market buyers, and we have such a nice relationship with them. And every Sunday, we close the consignment market, but for all the other days, we open the market 24/7. And at nighttime, we have ladies standing in front of the automatic sorting machine to sort the fish according to their sizes. And during the morning time, we have the consignment market fully packed with people. And of course, we pay for them. We pay for the labor cost. We have sufficient budget to pay for the labor, but the problem is that we don't have sufficient human resources who are willing to work there. So that is one of our problems. And what we are trying to do in the future is to create like a more fun factors to attract tourists and create like experiential centers where people can visit and experience the fishing. And by doing so, we want to become one of the most renowned fishing cooperative in Korea. We are not just stopping at
통역사님 이거 통역 안 하셔도 될 것 같은데요.
네.
저희가 사실 이제 수협이 하는 일은 다음 발표에 그 수협 중앙회가 발표가 있습니다. 저희가
네.
오늘 조합장님께 요청드렸던 발표는
네.
그 연안 항구에서부터 그 생선을 하적해서 그것들을 이제 컬렉션 모아가지고 그 프로세싱 센터로 옮기고 그 프로세싱 센터 안에서의 가공하는 이 시설, 지금 새로 짓고 계시는 그 시설에 대해서 좀 소개를 해달라는 말씀이었기 때문에 물론 사진 안에 다 들어가 있긴 했는데 이게 좀 그 흐름대로 조금 사진을 가지고 설명해 주시면 좋지 않을까 합니다.
그리고
죄송.
쓰레기 처리랑 같이요.
아, 네네. 좀 전에 질문으로 쓰레기 처리에 대한 부분이 올라와서 쓰레기 처리 부분도 좀 같이 설명해 주시면 감사하겠습니다.
저희는 이 쓰레기가 해양 쓰레기.
So we have the marine waste that is a serious problem in Korea. So those fish nets, they could be torn, and when that happens, in the past, fishers threw it into the ocean, but now we have the government support to use a big bag of like 20 kilograms in volume, and if they put the waste net inside that bag and give it to the government, they can get paid up to $30. So in the past, when they were not paid for the waste net, they just threw it into the ocean. That caused a lot of problem, but now they are collecting it back. And we also have those paper bags used to send ice to the ice for the fishermen, and those paper, the waxed paper bags are also very expensive, and we don't want them to throw it into the ocean. So what we do is, if you bring that bag back to the center, we give them about $3. And as for the budget to pay for those compensations for the waste net compensation of $30, it is covered by the central government. And we at Suhyap, we collect them and deliver it to the processing company. And as for the waste paper bag collection, we use our own budget to compensate for that.
So just to be clear, everyone, that payment is done from the Ministry of Environment, not through the Ministry of Fisheries. Yeah. Over to you.
네, 조금 전에
Also, what about fish processing waste? Sorry about
네,
that.
그거를
Just since you're
설명해
gonna
주십시오.
finishing.
오케이. 가공. 예. 이 가공은 이제
As for fisheries processing, as of 2015, we constructed this processing facility in our FPC. So it is following the HACCP processing standards. We maintain 15 degrees to 17 degrees Celsius. If you go inside and if you put something inside this facility, you can get the HACCP mark on that product. And we, as I said, we supply to the military units. So although this HACCP processing could be more time consuming and effort consuming, we follow the strict guideline to put the HACCP mark on our products. This is almost fully automated. Packaging and metal detection and QC and QA process, and also for drying. If you do the natural drying, it is not HACCP. So we have to do the drying inside the facility. This is not an easy process. It's very expensive. So actually, we should be charging more for those HACCP marked products, but actually we don't do that because all the processes are supported by the cooperative. This is the freezer. As for the freezer, in the past, it could store up to 100,000 boxes. So when vessels arrived, they had no room to store their products. So about 3 years, we expanded the facility. So with the expanded facility, it still has the full space packed already. So here you can see we can store up to 530,000 boxes. So we can store a lot of stock there. And as I said, we can supply to any buyers from any markets all around the year. So we invested 10 billion won to expand this freezing facility. Same for the freezer room. We can freeze up to 280,000 metric tons per day. So that is a big increase in our freezing capacity. So in the past, we could just freeze 100,000 kilograms per day, but that volume has significantly increased. So no matter how big the catch volume is from the fishers, we can freeze them as needed. This is the ice making facility, very critical one. 10 years ago, we had the Minister of Ocean visiting us, and he was so amazed to see that because of lack of ice, many fish were going rotten. So we can manufacture up to 4,800 ice cubes in the past, but for the ice storage facility, we could only store up to 3,500 boxes. But we now expanded the facility and we can store up to 10,000 ice cubes. And we deliver them to ships and vessels. And as for the ice production, we can make up to 1,000 ice cubes, but we feel the necessity to increase that ice cube production capacity. So that is currently being planned.